on your cameras quickly, if you don't mind, so that I can just see your faces again to see, are you surviving? Are you thriving? Or how are you doing? Thank you, Ashraf.
Fine, thank you, thank you.
Abulela, I only can see the notice board on the top of your head. So if you can maybe put your eyes and, oh, beautiful. I can see the beard. Beautiful. Sarah? Is Sarah there? Ahmed? Are you guys online? Okay, so while they sort themselves out, just quickly, Ashraf, Abulela, have you, especially Abulela first, have you caught up? You started after all the others. Have you caught up yet?
Yes, I think I finished all the assignments remaining the empathy map, and I'm working on it now, and
Okay.
the United Nations assignment. So I will do them today.
Okay, will you be able to finish today? Or do you need extra time?
I hope so. I hope so. I will try to finish today.
Otherwise, I can, Pilo's also on the other side. Otherwise, I can ask him just to extend everything with 1 week. If that's going to help you.
Yeah,
I think
please.
it will be okay for me regarding the United Nations because I didn't read anything of the 14th page. But in the empathy map, I almost finished 60% or 70% from it because I was interviewing my colleague now. He's an he's IT consultant.
Okay. Okay.
Company.
So will it help if Ashraf, I saw you said it will help. Will I, because Mpilo's, I'm sure he's listening, then I can just ask him while we're busy to extend it with 1 week.
Yeah, please. Actually, I have some issues with the work for the last 2 weeks, and really, I'm still didn't go through the last lecture up to now. I'm planning, we have a long holiday in the coming few days. So I'm planning to recover within this holiday. So it would be very kind of you if we can extend it for 1 more week. Hopefully we can recover in the coming holiday, please.
That's fine. You know, I've learned a lesson actually twice when I did my PhD and with my second doctorate. Is sometimes we don't let people know we need help because we feel sometimes a little guilty, or that the professor will think that we're not doing our part. But I had in the doctorate I did now, I had 6 times COVID since June last year, and because my immunity is very low. And in one of them, I just submitted. So I didn't ask for an extension. And, you know, I failed that thing on the plagiarism portal because they didn't have it as a portal there. So I've learned a lesson. If you struggle, speak up. If you struggle, speak up. And it's if a person and what they think, they must think, because all that's mattered is what is the truth. If you know you're struggling between work and studies, you know, for me to fail one, yes, it was very hard, but it's not that I'm chasing degrees, but I've already have 6 degrees, and but I still learned a lesson. I was so sick. And I just thought, let me push the button and send the thing. And I didn't review it, and I failed that specific assignment. So just, if you struggle, speak up, reach out.
I appreciate your thought. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Can you hear me? Pleasure. Mpilo, can you hear me? I will speak to him. Just to, okay, Mpilo, put a thumbs up. Mpilo, if you can just make all the assignments up to, that needs to be submitted by today, just give them 1 week extra time to make the deadline for next Sunday at the end of the day. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Who else of you before we start is a little behind, that struggle a little? And please remember, there's no, as I explained this, I'm doing my 7th degree, my 2nd doctorate. And I also made mistakes when life comes and gives us challenges. So if you struggle, please don't think you haven't, unless you know you haven't done your part, but reach out if you need a little extra time, if you need to clarify something, send to me a WhatsApp, or so that we can help and support you. Okay. Anyone else who's a little behind? Nobody? So can I assume everybody's up to date?
No, I'm a little bit late.
On which of the subjects? All of your subjects, or because remember? Yes, Rodas?
Continue, Professor.
It's not that I say do my things last, but I do have a lot of empathy. So if there is a professor that is extremely strict and not going to give extension, make sure those things are first in. It's not that you mustn't do my stuff, but it's as long as I get your, we get everything done by the end of the semester, we can mark everything, and because I want you to pass everything. So prioritize, start with those where you know you're not going to get extension.
Okay. Thank you very much, Professor. Thank you very much.
Okay, and so that you don't get behind there.
Yes. So my problem was even on weekends I was working. So we have this extracurricular activities, and I'm in one of the groups that prepares and organizes retreats for the company.
Yeah.
So I haven't had the time to even rest, let alone do any assignment. So I'm trying my best I'm doing my best to do all the assignments on time, but I haven't been properly attending one of the classes. So yeah.
As you know what, even if sometimes it's better to sit in a class like this, and sorry, I'm giving you shortcuts now. Sometimes it's better to sit in a class like this, even if you multitask, and listen with the one ear and work on something else with the other ear. It's not ideal, but students who don't are in the class, they need to go and catch up on the videos, and to listen 2-hour videos. So let's say you have 3 subjects, that's 6 hours a week.
Yes, that's
times 4 weeks is 24 hours. So sometimes it's better to sit in the class, listen with the one ear and catch up and work with the other ear. Yes, I'll ask you a question, but you don't have to go and find 2 hours somewhere else.
Yes, I think that's a good advice, because one of the classes lies on the work day, and I haven't been able to do it because our office is a pool office, and everywhere you go, anyone sees what you're doing. So that was one of my problems, but I think I will hide my screen and do something like that.
Okay.
It's better to do like that.
Other way is if you get on an MBA level, where you have family things, some of you have businesses, some of with working full day plus family and need to look after yourself, you need to work out the short routes. Okay, so and it's not ideal. So I'm not teaching you the right stuff. I'm teaching you the stuff that I had to figure out. while walking your path is sometimes yes, you can listen to the recordings, especially if you've missed a class. Otherwise, you'll get 0 for that class. But if you've listened to the recording and you've sent me to say, Prof, I've listened to it, then I can mark you a present. However, to sit in the class here and still do something else, that means you get 2 things done at the same time. The other thing is don't go and listen to the recording first before you start with assignments. Small business administration is not a difficult subject. I must be honest, this is one of the easiest subjects that I have, and I've done a lot of subjects. This is one of the easiest subjects. So then take your what is it, your slides, work through the slides, but first, before you even work through, go to your assignment. Okay, because I'm not going to give you points for reading the slides. You're getting points for being in the class and for doing your assignment. So then go and do the assignments. Then let's say Rhodas, you still need to do your surveys in the beginning. Then go and see, do you need to do pre-work before you can do the survey? No. Do it quickly. It's 10 minutes. Okay, tick, tick, tick. So draft a little schedule for you today where you are behind on. Then work out how long time will it take you to do that. Okay. Remember, you don't have to go for perfection. You need to get 70%. So don't put if you're already behind, don't put too much time in, because perfection is not going to necessarily make you give you a higher pass. You want to get that 70% now because you're so behind. Okay, so Rhodas, all of you are behind. Draw a little schedule up where you are behind. Then identify which days will you do the catch up, but don't wait and go and read all the slides and do all the reading. See which ones you can do quickly without having to put in too much time. Then you know, okay, like the interview, that takes a little more time. Then identify, okay, what is the quickest route? And if you're not sure, send me a message and said, Prof, yes, my schedule behind. What can you go through with me on the quickest route to catch up on this? Okay, I don't want you to lose hope. I don't want you to get overtired, but rather I have lots of empathy. I have 2 special needs children. And I worked in prisoner rehabilitation as well. The reason why I'm saying to you is I had to learn patience and I had to learn empathy. So because I've done so many degrees, and I have also sometimes want to give up. I know what you're going through, and I want you to help. I want to help you to finish. So those of you who are behind, go and draw a little schedule of your things you're behind on. If you want tomorrow or Wednesday, let's say a 15-minute quick WhatsApp with me or Teams with me, then we quickly go through it. But do your planning to say, okay, how can you catch up so that you don't make a complex thing over, let's get a strategy together. How do you catch up and finish quickly? Does that help?
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
It does.
So breathe.
Thank you, Professor.
And even while you're in the class now, go and draw a schedule up on all your subjects where you're behind. When it had to be in, how long each one will take. Listen with the one ear to me, Rhoda, so that at least this tick is done. Don't stress, but ask for help. Okay.
Okay, Professor. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay. Pleasure. So that then we know how to extend the timelines, because we try to take the deadlines and said, let's say Abulela needs a week extra to only make it for him, but the system doesn't allow us. So if we do it, let's say for Abulela or for Rhodas, that means we're going to do it for everybody, because the system doesn't allow one-on-one those special allocations, and Pilo has tried. Okay, who else are behind? I just want to make a note, Rhodas, and if you need, then I can talk to Sarah as well, if I understand where you're behind, so that she can also speak to your other professors. Because Windsor, really, what I love about them is you won't find this easily with the other institution. But if you have a problem, they can say, how can we support you? So, Rhoda, are you okay if I just mention this to Sarah so that she can maybe have a chat to you to see how the others can support you?
Okay, I think the research and development management, I'm okay with it. But for the logistics, it was on a working day, almost. So if it's just Mondays, I can schedule it and talk to my superior. But last time it was on Monday and Friday, and I think avoiding having 2 classes on a weekday is very hard for everyone.
It's an issue. It's a wish. So, okay, so anyone have an issue, please bring it under my attention or under Sarah's. So that they know how, don't suffer in silence, but bring it under Sarah's attention or bring it under mine so that we can, I communicate with Sarah so that they can see how they can support you. Don't suffer in silence, please. We're here to help you, okay? Okay, who else is a little behind?
So maybe having 2 classes of the same class in a weekday can make it sometimes hard. So I think it was a makeup class, but still, I'd rather have a makeup class on a weekend than on a weekday. So maybe that was one issue. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Who else is a little behind?
Professor.
Yes.
I have a question, Professor. Concerned with the logistics. Another thing is I don't see any PowerPoint or maybe lecture slides on my Moodle. Another thing is I don't have any email from Professor Hannah. That's why, what should I do?
Okay, if it's another subject, John, you will need to bring it under the professor's attention and or under Sarah. Do you all know Sarah Rice? I think it's R-E-Y-S.
I need to send the mail, Professor.
You can even put in the WhatsApp group, in the intake group, you can put a message there because they're quite good on responding in that group, John.
Yes, Professor.
And also, have you started making friends with some of the other students? Because sometimes another student may have it or have the same problem. So put that message in the intake group. And, part of servant leadership also is if another student sees somebody is struggling. Let's say like John said in the group he doesn't have the slides. Then somebody else immediately comes up and said, John, DM me, I can send something to you. That is part of the collaboration, and they call it thinking partners also, that you need to start developing under each other to help you through this. Okay, so you need to help each other. John, will you post in the group as well and ask? But I will bring it to Sarah's attention as well. Okay. Anyone else who is behind that needs support? Nobody. Okay. Okay. So, are you all good? I just need to see the thumbs. Are you all good? Nobody's reacting. Okay. Thank you, Iski. Nuran?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to share today with you. So those of you who have missed it, we're going to ask Mpilo to make an extension for your assignments up to today to open it up till next Sunday. But that will be then the final one, unless there's a specific person that's going to contact me. Okay? So that we know how to help you. Okay, so all see in front of you so that welcome, Yusuf.
Good morning, Dr.
Thank you for being in the class.
Yeah, sorry, for some reason I had some technical issues. I couldn't log in on time.
As long as you are here, I am so grateful. Okay, can you all see on the screen this chapter 4?
Yeah.
Okay, so today the slides that Mpilo is uploading on Moodle, plus what I've posted in the WhatsApp group for you in PDF, but I think Mpilo normally uploads the PowerPoint, is the last part of chapter 4. Then chapter 5 and chapter 6 really is not much, because the majority of that you have done in entrepreneurship in the previous semester. Okay, just before we start, I've checked with Sarah about the exam, because it's my first doing a first exam with you as well. So she said it's the last week in the semester, and then so I will go in the coming week to start looking at. They have uploaded a preset of questions for the chapters that we can look at. So I'm going to start looking at that this week, just to have an idea. So that I can, as I go through the chapter, start making a summary for you to say, let's say so many will be, let's say multi-choice, there will be, let's say, a case study, how much will it be, what will the time be, and which chapters, so that you, because if all 3 subjects going to do exams that last week, you're going to be hectic between studying everything. So I'm going to try to help you as much as possible in terms of narrowing stuff down for you, so that you everybody at least can get 70%. Okay, so please don't stress about the exams. I will help you as much as I can. Okay, so on chapter 4 last week, what we still have to complete is we ended last week on each of you that have to do the job interview. Now, some of you might still need to finish it, and that's the extension that we are going to give you, because everything you're going to do in that interview is going to influence your next 2 assignments. So therefore, it's important just not to thumb suck, but really, and if you don't have somebody to interview, you can interview even a fellow student, each other, or you can interview even, let's say, me and Mpilo, but based on availability. So don't go and think, oh, gee, I don't have somebody to interview. Find somebody, even if it's amongst your fellow students, or if you're really, really struggling, or even you can ask Mpilo if you can, let's say, interview him. And if I have time, you can you can interview me as well. Okay, so what you've done there is the next assignment. So you have 2 assignments for this week. Okay, I've asked Mpilo to make the date not next Sunday, but in 2 weeks' time, to allow you to catch up, Rhoda, and all of you that needs to breathe a little, but that you have to this week's assignment submit in 2 weeks' time. Okay, if you do it earlier, then you know it's done. So what you're going to do now is, with that same person that you have interviewed, whether it is a corporate business or whether it is a small business, whether you've done it with an entrepreneur or with an intrapreneur. Now you did help them to determine their value proposition. Okay, what I would suggest is that you first do assignment 2 and then assignment 1. The reason for that is Mpilo is busy uploading 6 very small videos for you. Each video is max 2.5 minutes. It's an animated video, but it's lovely. It's a story of Beth and Carl and how they want to get their business from idea to value proposition stage. Now, once you've done assignment 2, you will have a better understanding of this assignment 1, which is very easy. All what you need to do is this: number 1, you use the same SME you've developed the solution for in your previous week's assignment to create the gains, relieve the pains, and assist with jobs. Now, then what you do is that sentence, all the black words, that stays unchanged. So then you will say, let's say it was a consulting engineer that you've interviewed. Then you will say for that business, hour, and then you will specify the products and services. You'll see it in the blue under the line, helps. Then second sentence. Then again, under the line, the blue is a guide to say the customer segment helps, which customer segment. The next line is who want to. And then you'll see under the line again is the jobs to be done. What is it to help them? So you need to put it short and sweet and powerful. By, then you'll see there's 2 lines. The one is it gives you guidance. It must be a verb. Okay, so the verb, the example they've indicated here is reducing or avoiding. And then the second line will say what are, let's say you use reducing or avoiding or creating or whatever the verb you're going to use on that line, and you will describe it on the second line. So you'll say our products and services helps, which customer segment, who wants to, oopsie, what jobs to be done by reducing, let's say, lack of time. I'm just putting something in because there you describe the customer pain. And again, the first line is a verb. And the second line is, you'll see it in the blue under the line. There you say, what is the gain, the customer gain they're going to get. Unlike, you'll see that's the gray in brackets. That is the, what is the competing value proposition. Okay, so this doesn't have to be perfect. Because as we go on until week 11, you still can go back and not necessarily your assignment change, but the concepts, the learnings that you've gained, you can go and change. So this is, if you create a value proposition, I will be with you now, Abulela. So if you create a value proposition, it must be very short and sweet. Abulela?
Yes, because I'm stuck in the last one, unlike.
Okay.
Is it my competitive advantage over the competitors?
You can, but let's say for this example, you leave the unlike out. Only do up to the point of the full stop. Okay, because we're building your knowledge. We can bring that in a later week assignment in.
Okay.
Okay. So this one, we'll come back to it, but it's really a sentence, but you will be able to do it very easy peasy after you've done the prep work for assignment 2. Okay, so I just want to finish. Then assignment 2, that's why we'll give you 2 weeks. So we have attached the previous week, which Mpilo, you are listening. Just attach this PDF as well, where to start for them under week 5 as well. Okay, so what you will do here is for assignment 2 is you will read through this. It's a one-pager. It's just where do you start with a business model canvas, and I just want to see if I can make it bigger. But if I make it bigger, I need to take it over to that screen. Let me just take it over. So you'll read through this one. Let me just make it bigger. Can you see it now on your screen, the where to start, but I've enlarged it. Can you see it?
No, Professor. I think we need to change the window. Yes, change the window that we share.
Okay, can you see it now?
No, there is nothing shared.
Okay, so let's see. Why is this naughty one? Okay, can you see it now?
Yes.
Yes, now it's okay.
Okay, so this is a one-pager. I'm just highlighting this because on the screen it looks very small. So you will see this there's this block, the value proposition that you have done in your interview. Okay, which on the right one, the circle is you focus on your customer's most essential unrealized gain. That is, where are the gaps? You uncover a new unsatisfied job because that's where you zoom in. You solve your customer's most extreme unresolved pain. Then on the other side is this is where you now can customize the solution. That's what we've done with the empathy map. Where you create, you'll see there's a little dot to which block it will go, each one, and how the 2 blocks, the circle one and the square one, talk to one another to create a new gain for that unrealized gain. To the second one is to imagine a new product or service for that unsatisfied job that you have identified, and to create a new pain reliever for that most extreme unresolved pain that you have uncovered in the interview. So that we have started last week. Okay, now then what you're going up, so we've started with it. So what we're going to do this week, and that's why I've given you 2 weeks, because the value proposition is something that really, if you understand the power and the value of that, can help you, whether you're an entrepreneur or you're in a corporate job. You can start applying that in your business, or in a small business, or on a side hustle as a consulting, if you start getting the power of this. So what we're going to introduce this week is your current the business model, and there is going to be, you'll see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 little dots and infographics on the left. It is to say you come up with a new value proposition based on that one block is going to talk to partnerships. Then you'll see on the left, that one talks to both 2 blocks. You'll see there in the middle, built on your existing activities and resources, including, let's say, patents, infrastructure, skills, your user base. Then the bottom one is how to dramatically change your cost structure to lower your prices for that one. That's going to be the left bottom one. So that is how your business model canvas is going to read. Then if you go to the right, you'll see there's a little heart with a truck. And that one speaks to the 2 blocks on the right, which leverage your existing relationships and channels to offer customers a new value proposition. And then the block on the bottom right is to give away your core product for free, or should you increase your prices for your increased value proposition? So that's what we're going to do this week. Then the bottom part is that so that you understand how the value proposition are built. Then you'll see there's a middle blocky that says you design a value proposition for a new macroeconomic trend, such as, let's say, rising healthcare costs. So that portion we are not going to do at this stage. We're going to get you to build up to the block where you say your current value proposition, your current business model. Okay, so you read through this and you understand this. The second thing, what you will do is, I just want to quickly see if, I want to show, let me just open. Okay, let me see if I can share it now. Okay. Let me share. Can you see then in front of me? I just want to pull it over. There's a YouTube page. Can you see that?
We see what's new in Chrome.
Yes, we can see your Chrome Google page.
Yes, there's a YouTube page. Can you see that? Okay. So the easiest way.
No, there is no YouTube.
You see your screen, but not the tab you want.
Just see the browser.
Okay, so let me try again before I ask Mpilo to come and help. Okay, can you see that now?
Yes, YouTube.
No,
okay.
YouTube channel.
Yes.
Can you see it?
YouTube page, right?
Yes. Okay. Why I'm giving it to you, I want to ask you to start, especially if you're under so many pressure of trying 3 subjects and business and family and whatever else you need to do. I'll quickly explain to you why I love learning from videos. So in 2018, I had to do my PhD comprehensive exam. So how the exam worked is we had 19 subjects. And if then they give you per subject 1 2-hour exam, and we got 2 questions. So if you, and we also had a pass rate, our pass rate was 80%. So then 2 weeks before the exam, so if you fail that exam, you can rewrite it the next year. And if you still don't pass it, you need to redo a certain amount of subjects. So that was with Windsor University in Virginia Beach in the States. So 2 weeks before my, they call it a comprehensive exam. So it's really, you get 2 questions. And that 2 questions either make you pass or fail. And I remember the one question was, are leaders born or made? That was the question. And if you fail it, you fail it. And you can't, it's not an opinion piece, it's a factual piece. So you need to know, and you need to put references in terms of, let's say, all the leadership, let's say all the leadership styles. Then you need to know which guy, you need to refer to the person who has invented the leadership style, plus the year it was invented. So it was extremely, extremely strict. So I got swine flu 2 weeks before the exam, and I got it bad. But apart from the swine, I was so sick. I couldn't read anything. My eyes were, my brain was, it's so much brain fog. So I thought, okay, so what will I do? So they said, okay, if I give a medical submission, I can rewrite it the next year, but then I will miss my 7-year, timeline. So what I did was, because I was too sick to study and my brain was too tired to remember anything, I started watching YouTube videos. I was lying in the bed, closed eyes, and I will just say, let's say this concept, and watch, listen to videos to see how much can I remember. And I remember the day when I went to write exams, I had to be isolated because I was very sick. And in between the papers, I was so sick, I took a blanket and 2 pillows and I was lying on the floor there just to rest half an hour before the next paper. But that's where I've realized the power of video. So those of you who are time crunched, that's why I've put it to you here, is go and watch. It's episode 1 to take you through from business idea to business model. Episode 2 help you to visualize. It's 3 minutes to the business model. Episode 3 is the prototyping of the business model. Episode 4 is your navigating your environment. Episode 5 will, how do you now prove your idea? And episode 6 is, how do you tell your story? Because you're going to build on how to pitch your story also in next classes. So this won't take you more, let's say like 3, 6, 9, 12. This won't take you more than 20 minutes if you sit and watch all of them, but make notes. Keep your business model canvas in front of you, and then you make notes. This is the quickest, easiest way to get a crash course on the business model canvas. So if I'm you, I will start with this. Because it's going to cut out a lot of the other things that you, time that you think you will need to put in on studying the business model canvas. Will this help?
Yes.
Okay. Are there others? Will this help you?
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay. And it's a story of Beth and Cole, how they start. Okay, thank you. So it's a story of Beth and Cole, how they started with the idea and how they have to, how should they prove it to take it to market. Okay. Can you see the slides again in front of you?
Yes.
Okay. So the first one, you read through this document where to start, which we've done in the class. So you scan it quickly. The second one is, I would not even read the case study at this stage. I will go directly into number 3, watch the 6 videos. Okay. Then what you do is you go to slides 5, 6, and 7. It's the next 3 slides. So this is slide 5. Is it 4? 4, 5, 6, and 7. So it's slides 4, 5, 6, and 7. So while you watch the videos, you keep this canvas in front of you, so that, because all the 6 videos are going to talk to you about, let's say, your key partners, your key activities, your key resources, your, at the bottom left, your mission, your budget and cost, bottom right, mission achievements, or your impact factors, your buy-in and support. On the top, you'll see beneficiaries, deployment. Once you've done those 6 videos, you will have a very good idea about these blocks, because then you will only at the end will go to the value proposition. That means only then will you be able to do this assignment. Okay, so after the 6 videos, you will be okay. But print this out or keep it in front of you. Take a picture of it while you watch the video so that you can make notes on this design. Everything on the canvas is linked to this. Okay, then what you do is, this is slide 5. Are you all, can you see all of you slide 5? That is the solution of the problem in colors?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Then what you do is, as you've done this now, you understand that. But now as you go through the videos, you'll see these numbers. Number 1 is on the right, your customer segment. Okay. Number 2 is what you've done last week. What is the real problem, the pain and the gain? So you have done that last week. Okay. So number 1 is, you will, after the videos, you will understand then what is the customer segment, because that same person you have an interview is now make notes on what are their current customer segments. Just make notes there. But only after you understand what is that entails in the videos. So what is, let's say, your consulting engineers customer segments? Number 1, you know now is number 2 is problem gains. What is pains and gains? Okay, you know then to say potentially you have made a recommendation last week in terms of that, but most probably after this week, understanding this canvas better, you might change your recommendation, and that's okay. Okay. Then number 4, this is the value proposition, but no, this always you do potentially last. And this is this wording that you're going to do then at the end in assignment 1. This is how you will finalize your value proposition. Okay. Number 5 is there at the, can you see where number 5 channels are? Can you see?
Yes.
Yes, it's clear, yes.
Okay. Thank you. So that is there where you're going to understand then to say, let's say it's a consulting engineer. You understand now what is his customer segments. Then is how does he deliver his value proposition, through which channels does he deliver that? And remember, once you understand the value of the canvas, it's not huge sentences. It's really sticky notes, it's words. You will maybe say, yeah, networks, okay, engineering networks, or through websites. You will be very specific on under which channels are the delivery delivered through. Okay, so in this case, I just want to see, is Matar online? Matar? Is Matar online? Matar is his first time not here. I hope he's okay.
Yes, I think
Okay.
he sent you, Professor, about he will not attend today's session.
Oh, okay. So let's say, oh, okay. Thank you for that, Izzat. So let's say like Matar who has the chickens. So he will then say, how does he deliver his chickens through? Because the first canvas you do is the situation as is. At one stage, normally you tear up, said, okay, how are we going to start from scratch then to design the best channel delivery for that? But the first one you do is, what is the status quo before you go and do recommendations? Okay. Then number 6 is you go to customer relationships. That's the on top of the channels. The video then will explain to you to say, so what is your key customer relationships that you need to look after like gold? Because sometimes we need to identify who do we need to look after like gold, and who do we need to let go of, and who do we need to find new customer and build new customer relationships. But the first canvas you're going to do this week is just the status quo. Okay. Then number 7 is, let me quickly see, number 7 is, what is your revenue streams at this stage for your small business you have interviewed? Okay, where do they get their incomes can come from? Let's say Matar, do they get it from eggs? Do they get it from chicken, let's say the pieces that they sell, or where, or let's say an NPO, where do they get their donations from? Okay, so that's what you will do under 7. But after the video, you'll understand better. Then number 8, you will say then, so what key resources are needed to deliver the revenue proposition through the customer relationships and through the delivery channels to the identified or the current customer segments to create that revenue stream. Okay, so normally the pink area there is the back office support. What do this business need to deliver the blue area? And then how is it built on the green areas influencing your profits? Okay, so your technical feasibility, there you'll see it's the pinkish color, is what is on the back office to deliver to the market. That's the blue one. And then you're going to look at the business viability. Okay. Now, what we're going to do to make this interesting is we're going to pull it through to even when we do finance. This one you have an interview now. Every week when we introduce a new topic, I'm going to ask you to go back to your business model canvas, see how do you use it on that canvas and what should be changed. Because at the end, then you can go back to your client who you interviewed to make a consulting solution to them as we build up on each week. Okay, so that's why I said at the end, I think you will be semi-experts in the business model canvas. Okay, then number 9 is what key activities does these key resources, number 8, need to do to deliver the value proposition through the number 6, the customer relationships, to deliver that through their channels, number 5, okay, to solve the problems, pains and gains, number 2, to the customer segments. Can you all see how it starts flowing into one another? Yes or no? Okay, thank you so much, eh? And I promise you, anyone who struggles, but I need to know that you've done you can always contact me, but I need to know that you've read all your stuff, you've tried, and then just to identify 1 or 2 things. Then what you're going to ask this, so you will have a second interview, because otherwise how are you going to identify that? Now you need to ask, so what are your key partners? That's number 10. Okay, that help you to deliver your key activities, to enable your key resources, number 8, to deliver the value proposition in the middle, number 4, through the key customer relationships, number 6, through delivery channels, number 5, that solves the problems, pains and gains, number 2, through identified solutions, and number 3, to the specific customer segments, number 1. Okay. Once you've done this, now nobody's going to share with you if they don't know. So what is your income? But what you identify here, you don't have to do numbers at this stage, is just like the revenue streams, you would have identified, let's say Matar would have said, let's say eggs, let's say some of the eggs they put in liquid form for some baking thing, and chicken, let's say breasts or processed meat, they would have identified what are the revenue streams. Now the same is, what is the cost structure to deliver this entire value proposition? That means what is the cost to deliver this product, this solution that you've given in number 3, to address the problem in number 2, to the customer, number 1, what is the cost structure? Why that is one of the most important things is when you're going hereafter, we're going in the next phases to refine these things. You're going to look at, are there any things that need to make more lean, that needs to be you do away with, that you can increase your revenue streams and increase your profit, but you need to identify what is the cost structure to deliver this entire pink area up to the last end of the customer segment. Okay. So what you will do is, let me into the assignment. You will go through the way to start, the videos, the slides, as I've gone through it with you now, but do the slides as you watch the videos. Then what you will do is you will have an interview again with the same person you had the interview for this week. Okay. In terms of those 11 categories, you start with just the executive summary. What you put in there is just for an understanding for the person who reads it. So let's say in this case, myself, to say a little bit about the client. What is the problem? Just summarize again the problems, the gains, and the jobs that you have identified. And then what you will do then is number 2. So you've just the executive summary to give me an understanding. Then you will number 1 to 11. Okay. Yes, 1 to 11. You put the heading there, and under each heading, you just put a summary. You can put it in bullet points as well. It's under customer segments. You put bullet points there in terms of what have you learned in terms of the customer segment. In terms of the problem, pain, and gain, that you can put a little table, problem, gains, jobs. You put in what you've for the previous week, summarize that. 3, under that, what is the solution? Under pain, problem, pains, gains, and jobs. Put what you've put in the previous week. Number 4, you do your value proposition. So you're already doing assignment 2 in this one. You put in there what you've identified. Number 5, what have you learned about channels? Number 6, customer relationships. What have you learned? 7, revenues. What have you learned? Number 8, what have you learned? I learned means what after your interview with a small business or with a person you had in your previous week, what are their channels of delivery? What are the key customer relationships? What are the revenue streams? Not the amounts, just the streams. What are their key resources? What are their key activities? What is the key partners? What are the key costs? Okay. Then at the end, that's number 2.2. You make a recommendation in terms of your learnings. What would you recommend for them to high level? Just high level, because we're going to look at it, work on this again. What would you recommend? What works and what doesn't work? Okay, and what doesn't work, what would you have recommended to change? Okay, but this is a fun assignment, and it's not about right or wrong. It's about learning. So as long as you've submitted it, I can see that you've taken the knowledge from the videos, because that's where you're going to get. You can go and get extra videos as well. You have, and that you have an understanding, even a high-level understanding of the business model canvas. You cannot fail. Okay, it is learning. Okay, any questions on this? So please ask now before we take a break, and then we're going to start with chapter 5 and 6, which are really very light level chapters, which I don't even think I am going to put a lot of attention in the exam in. Okay. Any questions? No questions.
Thank you, Professor. All good. Thank you.
Okay, Yusuf, do you have clarity on that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Anyone, Rhodas?
Last week I tried to I read the case history of Taobao, and I tried to apply for the business model canvas, but I think it was a shallow application. When you explain this today, and I submit already all document required. So I think I will have to resubmit it again after I have a deep understanding now from your presentation.
Anyone who wants, because I'm going to, I'm starting slowly to mark. So if you want to go and resubmit, take that off, and because you're getting an extension, and resubmit after this week, you're more than welcome to do that, because by the time I'm going to start marking this, because I'm first going to mark week 1, 2, 3, that's already 75 assignments I need to do before I even start with week 4. So if you want to go and take that off and resubmit, you're more than welcome. You don't have to ask permission, just go and do it. You have the extra time. You are more than welcome. Okay.
But if the site, if I couldn't cancel my previous submission, could I send it to your mail?
Yeah, or I'm not very good on IT. Otherwise, I will. You can send it to me, and I'll ask Mpilo to. Mpilo must just give a finger if we can do that. I will ask Mpilo then to take that off and upload that one if you struggle, or to work with you. Mpilo, can we do that?
Because sometimes they make the cancellation of submission for 30 minutes only. After 30 minutes, I can't edit or delete my submission.
Oh, okay. Mpilo, can we do that? Can they send it to us, and then we upload it for them?
I will open on the learning management system for the privilege for a second submission.
Okay, for everything for last week.
Yes.
Okay, is that? Mpilo will do something with the settings so that you can do a second submission. Okay. Okay. Rhodas? Rhodas?
Yes, Professor.
Breathe. Okay. So even if, let's say, you haven't done last week, and so the first thing is identify who can you have an interview with. Okay. If you struggle, then you even reach out to one of your colleagues who you can have an interview with. You can do it with Mpilo or with me, but it will be better if it is somebody who can at the end have real data in terms of their business. Then watch you can, even before you have the interviews, okay, watch the 3 videos. Go the cheat, not the cheat route, but go now, zoom in where you can get your understanding the best. And for me, I love the small videos. Then go and do whatever you need to do, but in the shortest way possible.
Okay.
Okay. Anyone else?
It's clear, Professor, today.
Just say again, Rodas?
I said it's clear. It's clear.
Okay, beautiful.
Okay.
Anyone else? John?
Yeah, Professor, please, I want to ask a question.
Yes.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, I can.
All right, thank you very much, Prof. I want to find out this week assignment, this assignment presentation, is it a group assignment or it's an individual assignment?
It's an individual assignment. You know why I'm not doing group assignments with you guys? When I studied, the things that kept me behind was group assignments.
Okay.
So especially if you're busy, and I've heard you guys have group assignments in other classes. So group assignments actually take more time than in individual assignments, because if you can't get to a group member or somebody doesn't do their part, sometimes you get more behind. So I've decided to only give this as individual assignments so that I don't put the extra burden of group assignments on you.
Okay, but I still need to find out, is it a continuation of the last week? Because last week I was not there, and I've not been able to watch the section of last week, so I couldn't flow.
Okay, so
does it mean? Hello, Professor.
Yes, I'm listening.
Okay, so what I'm asking is, it means I have to go back and watch to listen to last week's section to enable me continue with this.
Yes, because it works on that same interview that you have done last week. So even if you just go and forward last week's video to the point where we've explained the assignment. Okay, so that you don't have to watch the entire 2 hours if you have a pressing for time. But you will first need to do last week's interview, which we've given you an extension now, because once you have done the interview, your interview results is going to be part of, let me just say here, part of this number 2. Can you see there the number 2 and the number 3? That was last week's interview and assignment to identify number 2 and number 3. So if you don't have that, you don't have an understanding of your client. So you will first need to do that. Okay, but you have extra time now. Yes?
I just want to ask, because sometimes we are so busy because we need to prepare our assignments to study a lot, and sometimes we can't do very well. That's why every unit or maybe every chapter now we are doing assignments. Sometimes it's not enough for us to do only quiz. As maybe, for example, each unit, not for each unit. For example, this unit will have an assignment, next unit will not have assignments, and next unit will have a assignment. But if we don't have an assignment, we can answer where I think a quiz, because quizzes based on the chapter, we can study well. But others further study, maybe for example, to answer the assignment is sometimes we need to study more. Others, if we have a question is right. I think every chapter, if we have an assignment, we cannot do very well, I think, for every assignment.
Yeah. Yeah, and the quiz for business model canvas on certain things is not going to help. You need to learn the application. So some chapters might have quizzes, and other chapters might have the physical assignments. So quizzes might be the easiest one because if you haven't watched the videos and you haven't read the stuff, you can guess. And if you haven't done, if you maybe you get 70, and if you couldn't get 70, you try another time. But that's not real learning. That's trying to finish, but that's not real learning. So some chapters you will have assignments. Okay, so if you're behind, we've given you extra time now. Go and catch up, like I've suggested to Rhodas. And if that means that we need to identify, let's say Chan, let's say it comes up that you, Chan, and is it Etwa Waji? Even if that means you need to have with my assistant Mpilo 15 minutes, and he needs to take you through, let's say the previous one, and take you quickly through that. He's very patient. Then we can also do, let's say, 15 or 30-minute one-on-one with Mpilo to help you to catch up. But the responsibility for the learning and the classes are yours. But I'm willing to see whatever we can do to give you extra support. Okay.
One thing, one of my challenges our maybe timeline. For example, maybe for example after lecture time, we in our country is midnight. So I wanted to sleep. After finishing next morning, I have to go to my school or university. That's why later I need to be hurry to prepare the assignments. That's why I'm so worried for my assignment not to be qualified.
Okay, so the one thing, and this is why I want to, after the break time, I just want us to take a quick 5-minute break, but after the break time, the rest 2 chapters, you'll see chapter 5 and 6, John, is really, I'm not going to put anything of that in the exam, so I'm going to go through it quickly, but I want to bring you to this page. I have added a word here. Let me just see. Chapter 6. I put in a word here. I'll go and look for it. But the word is discipline. Okay? So when you study, have a full-time job, have a family. You know, when I did my PhD, I did it over 7 years because I had 19 subjects, exam, and then a dissertation period. And I got very sick in that time, and I had to take a year sabbatical. So you cannot do that if you don't have a schedule. So I got used to it.
Where she did her PhD.
I just want to put that mic off. So I had to work out the physical schedule for me to say, let's say, work in the day from 8 to 6. Help my children between 6 and 8. I spend time with my children, my family. Then from 8 to 9, then I, let's say, fall asleep with my children from 8 to 10. And then I would have an alarm on from 10 to 2 in the morning. I will do my studies. Then I'll sleep from 2 to 5. The alarm will go off. 5 o'clock, we need to start preparing the kids for school. And that for 7 years was my routine. Yes, I nearly lost my marriage. Yes, I became ill. Yes, I burnt out. But if you're going to study and you're not going to have a schedule and a discipline, you're going to get behind, and you're going to have issues to finish. But if you're seriously about studying and seriously serious about finishing this this MBA, you must get into a discipline, and that discipline is tough. But it's a personal decision that each person must take for him or herself. And yes, do you get tired? Yes. Do you sometimes want to burn out? But like my husband said to me at the time when I said I had to apologize that I never spent time with the family, and I said, thank you for supporting me. And my husband said to me I had to think about that, but it was a very, very wise thing. And he said, Christa, the decision that you've taken with the studies is not for us. It is for you. So studies is a very selfish decision that we take for ourselves, because the people around us doesn't get that time, the best time of us. And therefore you need to make that time count. And when we coach people, we either say, you're either going to get into discipline and a habit, or you're always going to have a bag of excuses that's going to become the story of your life. Why you couldn't do certain things. So if you struggle, the first thing here that you need to go and look at, what is my discipline in terms of studying? Have I taken on too much? Is my method of studying if you're studying too detailed, you cannot on this level study too in detail, because you have 3 subjects, you work, you have assignments. But in the corporate world, in the business world, nobody, and that's why I was a business turnaround strategist. Nobody's really interested in the excuses. So the one thing as part of your MBA journey is to say, let go of anything that may sound as an excuse. Put a schedule in place. So what I'm doing with you guys as a lecturer, not everybody will do. Otherwise, other people will just give you 0 if you haven't and you won't finish your subject. So I really want you guys to finish. And if that part of finishing means that I need to help you, those who struggle, offline, to changing habits, to get into schedules, to get into habits, get into discipline, then we can do that, even if it's not part of the course. But the heart, the truth is, it's up to you. Whether you're going to get into a discipline or you're going to find an excuse. And that rhythm, John, I'm going to come to you now. That rhythm is going to follow you through in everything you do. So if you struggle, rather reach out so that we can help you, not to do it for you, but to get you into a schedule and a discipline, to catch up and to finish flying high. Okay, does that help?
Thank you, Professor.
Okay. Okay, so let's
so
take
much.
5.
Thank you very much, Professor.
Okay.
Thank you.
So always, I'm very straightforward. So if you guys, even if you do a one-on-one with me, even if the 2 of you do it together, I will be brutally honest. Okay, and always remember it comes with a place of love, because I'm somebody who walked in your shoes, and I want you to develop those habits early on, so that it doesn't drain you, so that you don't burn out like I did many, many times over my journey. Okay, but excuses are not going to be the story of your life. Success is going to be that story of your life. Okay, let's take a 5-minute break. My watch say it's 18 minutes past, so let's be back 25 past. Then we're quickly going to run through chapter 5 and 6. It's really not important. It's not heavy chapters. Then we're going to run through that. Okay. Let's be back 25 past.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we are.
Thank you. So I want you to look at quickly on slide 7. So I just want to show you an example. So on slide 7, there's an example of how a business model canvas has been completed. What I'm also going to look for tonight is going to look at 2 big companies that has done the business model canvas also on. And then I'll ask Mpilo to upload those 2 just in a slide format, because picture format and videos learn easier than a lot of writing, so that you guys can also just look at that to give you an idea of, but really it's still the beginning stages though, so just enjoy it. Okay, this is really a thing that you must say, how can this work for me? How can this work for my corporate division where I am? How can this work for if my child want to go and start a little business at some stage? How would I advise him on world standards? So see this as enjoy, just a process to enjoy. Okay. So what I want to take you is slide 5 and 6 chapters. I'm not going to touch on in the exam. So that's why I'm first going to skip through to get to chapter 6. There, you can see chapter 6 in front of you. The topic is paths to entrepreneurship. Can you see that?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So what I've done here for you is there's 2 slides we're going to go through, and I'll come back to them now. All the others on the top, I've added in a green block there, ENTR for entrepreneurship. Can you see that green block? These are all you can see all of them of the ENTR, due diligence, franchising. Those were the how to determine the value of that. All those things were listed on that summary. Yusuf, I'll come to you now. All those things were listed on the summary of topics that has been covered in your entrepreneurship previous semester. The content and the slides might be different, so you can go through that in your own time. But I've promised you all that I'm not going to replicate or duplicate stuff that you have done in a previous semester. So where you see the entrepreneurship in that green block, then you know the topic there's starting a new business, like in this case, has been covered in some form in the entrepreneurship course. So read through that in your own time. Yusuf? Yusuf, your hand is up. I just, that's why I'm reaching out.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. So I had a silly question. So can we do this like model, business model canvas for our own business? Can I do it for myself?
Yes, it's just difficult to interview for yourself. So if it is, then you must just in the executive summary write that you are doing it for yourself, because that would give you more value. Because then, let me just go back to that slide. So you can even put your answers, okay? Can you see this slide in front of you with the figure 4.7?
Yes.
So you can even do this in this format, okay, for the assignment. On the blank one that has been attached, that was the blank one for slide 4, but there's a specific attachment. So you can print that out, write it by hand, or you can use a PDF thing that can open a PDF. I don't think I have this in Word. I will check if I have it in Word. But otherwise, you can do it for your own business as well. But what you need to do then in your executive summary is to give the understanding, the assumption of your business. You're interviewing yourself so that I can just see which business are we working on. So you can do that as well. Whatever is going to add more value to your life.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Okay. Okay. So just back to chapter 7 quickly. I just want to go through. all that really stood out for me from chapter 7 was the three, but I'm not going to. The only thing that I might ask in the, so you can make a note of that, is just maybe the in the exam is this slide 34 to say what is the difference between, let's say, bootstrapping, bricolage, and lean business practices. So you can make a note of that, so that I don't believe in parrot style. So what we might do is, so Mpilo, just make a note of this, is let's say put bootstrapping, bricolage, lean business practices, and then put the definition of each one, and you need to match the three up. So this slide is really the only one that stood out. But apart from the exam, what really I liked was the 2 blocks, where the ones that both lean operations and bootstrapping share 3 ideas. And this is so important in the entrepreneurship. Waste not, want not. Because the want not is something that is so inherent in all of us. We want the best. We want the luxuries. But you can ask Mpilo, we are doing magical development with entrepreneurs with very little. We're asking for a program of entrepreneurs of 25, less for 5 months, less than some of the incubators ask for 1 entrepreneur for 5 months. So we had to learn the principle of waste not, want not, because what maximum impact can we do with what God has put in our hands, instead of wanting and wishing for what we have, but may not be in, we always say, in God's timing, for the blessings for now. So that principle for me was wow. Then also the second one, to create, to standardize and repeat. So what we did initially is, that was my focus as an entrepreneur, as a consultant as well. For long, companies will come to me and say, Christa, can you design programs for us? And then I customize design. But I also had to learn the lesson that if you can't standardize certain things to replicate, the money will not always necessarily flow. There are more money to be made in what you create, to standardize and to replicate, versus to do every single program to customize that for impact, because customization takes time, and time is money. Then the third bullet that I loved is keep in touch. And that is referred to the power of connection, the power of that one block on the business model canvas, also as relationships. Keeping in touch doesn't always mean you go and try to sell every time. That sometimes means you just send somebody, so like I will send on WhatsApp just a message, a motivational message to somebody, or just asking, are you doing okay? But they've never done business with me, or and then in 2 years' time, so I don't do it with that intention, but in 2 years' time, that person suddenly now has a need for something. So who do they call? The person who they've made a connection with. So the personal touch, the personal connection is very important. People, the majority of people getting through, especially after COVID, get to a point where they want to work with people they trust. They want to work with people they've made a connection with, versus just people who, what's in it for me. So that is those 3 principles for me, as a principle of life, even over and above entrepreneurship, is very important. Then the others that for me really, I thought this is so practical in terms of entrepreneurship is the key ideas of bootstrapping. And on the first bullet, you can see bootstrapping is to find that low cost or no cost way to do something. Okay, so what are the 5 principles of bootstrapping? So in the exam, we may ask you on what are the key principles, and we'll say, let's say 3 of what is bootstrapping and what are the key principles of bootstrapping. So the first one is aligned with what you're doing on the canvas on that bottom 2 blocks, income stream and costs, is to cut your expenses to the bone, is to waste not. Do not have wasteful expenditure. That might mean and I'm using the second one, barter, rent or lease rather than buy, and considering equity if we must buy. So for example, we have women we develop. Now they don't have money to come onto the program. And we charge them a marginal fee just to see 600 Rand in South African terms, which is very little. And some will come to us and say, Christa, but I don't have 600 Rand, but can I barter? And I thought, what the heck is barter? Then we discovered the power of bartering. For example, they may swap a skill they have for the amount they need to pay. They may say, Christa, can we give, I'm a coach, can I give, let's say, give 3 coaching sessions in turn for paying that amount? I don't have the cash, but I have skills. Can we swap, make a swap? So I have learned the power of bartering. Somebody may say, Christa, I really want to do that that course, but I don't have the money. But I'm a fashion designer. Can I make something for you or for someone? Absolutely. So that is the thing, is if somebody has something you want and they have something and vice versa, is how do you barter or make a swap for each to get what they want and need? Okay. Then the second last bullet is to minimize debt and limit credit card balances. Debt and credit card balances needs to be repaid. So anything you need to repay and you incur interest on means you have, in a way, wasteful expenditure. To see how can you go lean and mean, cut to the bone so that you don't have to enrich somebody else through paying interest. Okay. And always keep track of your cash. Some entrepreneurs, especially through COVID, had to go into a phase where they buy on the credit card, and then they pay from another credit card, this credit card, and they get a loan to pay this credit card or that credit card. So it becomes like a vicious cycle. So that's why if one can rather stay smaller, but do not become a slave to somebody else, if I can put it like that, to incurring debt, but you have not had income yet. So how I know I started, and I know of another gentleman who started a non-profit. He was a pharmacist for a very big company. And he started in a non-profit with a mobile pharmacy where he goes to areas, poor areas who cannot afford, let's say, health testing or certain medicine. So he funded that non-profit from his salary and his consulting fees that the excess he got from that. However, you only can do that for a time, because otherwise you're never going to build up wealth or save if you do that. So there is part-time entrepreneurship has a lifetime limit on that. Okay, so this slide is the one in chapter 6 that stood out for me that you can mark for the exam. Any questions? Yusuf, your hand is still up? Okay, is that put in the chat to say, I think bootstrapping is valid for handmade, small businesses and self-employed small businesses for as a most suitable model. Absolutely. Very, very accurate observation. Anyone else who wants to come on in here with wisdom, personal experiences, like Izat is shared here in terms of bootstrapping and lean business practices? Are you all still there? Are you gone? Can you hear me?
Yes. We're here. Sorry. We're just enjoying the lecture, so we don't respond.
Okay. No, I just need to know that that you guys are still there. Okay. So then, in terms of chapter 5, you know by now I highlight things in yellow if it stands out. So chapter 5 is focusing on the paths to part-time entrepreneurship. Okay. So what comes up there for me is on this next slide, why part-time business are important. It's just 3 aspects. The one is what pop-up type of business was called. So that might be a question in the exam is, sorry, to say what is a episodic business, and to describe that and give an example. So you can mark that. Hybrid entrepreneurship is not something that I will put in the exam, but that's something that is really, really common, where we have a full-time business, but we also have, we're working full day, but we also working, have a part-time business. Okay. Then what the definition in terms of the textbook is for part-time definition is in the block there on top, where they say it, also in the 3rd bullet, it is to work fewer than 35 hours a week. Now first I thought, normal working for a full-time job is 40 hours. If somebody needs to work 40 hours plus 35 hours or less a week, that means already that person has no life. So that was quite interesting for me to see what is the definition in terms of hours of a part-time business. Okay. The question that I want to ask all of you is, do you know anybody who has a success that you know, who has small businesses and using the pop-up methodology, pop-up business methodology successfully? Nobody. Okay. So then the next one, what type of kinds there are? It's home-based, internet informational website, e-commerce, home retail, pop-up, mobile offices, virtual offices, incubators, and agents. Now, in terms of incubators, I want you just to, in the back of your mind, just put a little star, because in future I might bring in a summary between an incubator and an accelerator. in terms of the business environment. So, for example, the women we develop here, the entrepreneurs, is falling under accelerator and not an incubator. Okay, and those are terminologies. So I will go and find to see that Tempilo also makes us a nice summary for us, so that even if it's not in the curriculum, because those are terms that you will start finding a lot, whether it's the United Nations or whether it's this women organization came up or this NPO, so that you understand there's a difference between an incubation concept and an acceleration concept in terms of small business. So we will make a nice summary and then we can look at it at the next time. Okay. Then the next slide is home-based businesses. Who of you have home-based businesses? Who of you have home-based businesses? Nobody. Okay. So we have a home-based business. So I'll give you a good example. Is my husband gave us the privilege, the house as a cottage, quite a big cottage. So he said to me, Christa, you guys can take the cottage, because after COVID, what we found, a lot of businesses that was renting office space before COVID, a lot of them, which I personally know, because they had to pay the office space during COVID, but didn't get any income, either went under, or what the trend is, especially in South Africa, is after COVID, is that a lot of people work from home. That before COVID, they would have frowned on you, on your terms, is your business credible if you work from home, versus after COVID, it has become quite natural if a person has a business from home, because a lot of corporates also have a hybrid model of people working from home certain days and working at the office certain days. So, for example, my husband said, take the cottage. So we've redone the cottage and we've made it in a training room, offices. So it looks very professional. But can we put the sign outside the house to explain this is an office? No. Because I don't know how it works in your countries, but in South Africa, we have zoning regulations where they say you only can do, let's say, a business from home if you have a combination of residential or business zoning rights. So based on that is, I've added in there is to work from home takes discipline. It takes discipline, because certain times you need to separate your house, your business life, and your personal life. We need to separate. I need to separate when I sit in the office and when I attend to the children and, let's say, my husband. I need to separate when I get lazy sometimes and say, oh, I don't want to be in the office at 8 or 9 o'clock. Sometimes you feel a little lazy, okay? But you need to have the discipline to say, no, I will get up. And even if I feel a little lazy today and not so much for work, you still need to pitch up on time. So there are certain dynamics with the home business that one need to acknowledge and need to manage. Okay. Then the second thing also is, if you have, I don't know how it works in your tax laws, but in our tax laws, it works out that if I have a space at home where I can work with you, you can measure the space, the square meterage, and that square meterage as a percentage of, let's say, the total property, not the land, but the buildings size. Let's say it works out on 5 or 10%. Then I can say this is the costs that I've incurred, let's say water, electricity, potential rent space, other costs, cleaning, what we have incurred for the office. So let's say that cost is, let's say for the year, $10,000. And the percentage square meterage of the office space as a total percentage of the bigger house space is, let's say, 10%. That means our tax laws then allow us to deduct 10% of $10,000, the cost to run the offices for that square meterage, deduct that as office expenses from tax. So those are the things that one need to consider. What are the legal things? What are the tax laws that will influence? Discipline and ground rules. For example, my family knows Mommy is working with Mpilo and the team here, so I can't just run off and go and do certain things. So there's ground rules to say what is the rules for me working from a office space, and it's quite a big space. It's quite a big space, but there's a door between our office, which is the cottage, and the house, and that door means there's a boundary between professional business life and nurturing mother home life. Okay, but what it asks is discipline. Any comments on this for anyone who are working from such a space or knows somebody who works from such a space?
Yes, Professor. So, sorry, I missed your first question about the working from home. So I have an office at home as well. So I operate my business from home, but most of our operations are outside. But I have an office at home. I use it for the office work, and I usually claim some expenses you were mentioning.
Good. And does it require discipline, just from your experience?
Of course, I have 2 young kids, and they are always making noise, jumping around. So sometimes I tell them that I'm working downstairs, so please, it's in my basement. So I have an office space in my basement, and I usually ask them not while working.
Beautiful. Thank you for that. Second was, is it Tuwai? How do I pronounce your name?
Ejit Owaji.
Ejit Owaji.
Yes.
Ejit Owaji. Beautiful. It's yours, and then you can speak, and then Abulela.
Yeah, I have comments because my wife. Okay, sorry.
Okay. Yeah. My wife also work from home, and we have a three bedroom apartment, and the 3-bedroom apartment, when initially we were having 2-bedroom apartment, and we have the children in one room, me and my wife in one room, and sometimes we have house help comes in to stay, to walk and go. So the noise from the children, distraction and all that. So this time we decided to rent a 3-bedroom apartment. And the 3-bedroom apartment, one of the rooms set aside to be an office and for business. And since we did that, it becomes more effective and more efficient for her. She can lock the office, and because she does online teaching.
Okay.
Yes, so she really need time, concentration, and quietness. So we section one part of the house for that. But in terms of the expenses and all that, really, we've not actually incorporated that. We take it as when I pay for the rentage, it covers everything. Since my own job, I go out for office assignment, office job. So she was just doing that. But she normally assists in the house for other homes. She also pay for the house help that comes to clean the house and all that. So she also contribute a little quota, but she have not built into her own the portion of what she's using.
Okay, so maybe when we do the finance section, when we do the finance modules, you can start getting the costs together of what is it that you need to pay for the, let's say, the flat and the business every month. So, and then go and measure just on the plans or on your rental contract, get the measurement of the total apartment, and then measure the area for the business, the third bedroom that she's using, because then we can show you then how to pro rata allocate the costs toward a business expense. And then you will know in terms of your own, when we do that, in terms of your own regulations, do they allow you to deduct it or not? Or you can even interview your wife's business for this assignment of the business model canvas.
Okay.
You can, that's going to be quite a nice exercise, because then you can also help her to separate the planning and the costing of her business at home from the living expenses for the house. So maybe do that, do a proper, watch the videos and then interview your wife. And just like Yusuf doing it for his business, it can really help you guys to turn your business model for your wife's teaching business around. Okay. Will you do that?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Thank
you. Beautiful. Okay. Abulela?
Yes, I have experience with my wife because she's working from home. She doesn't have her own business, but during Corona, they start to all working from home, and she's working remotely mainly. Okay. What I discovered, despite its flexible hours to work from home, but she works double the hours she used to work if she go to the office.
That's true.
And she misses a lot of meals, so she had to eat while she's working on the desk.
Yeah.
And one of the drawbacks that's not mentioned here, the network.
Yes.
You must choose a proper place that covers telephone calls and internet, because in our place, in our home, some areas is not covered by the cellular or the network. So she must choose a specific place to take calls or to go on the internet.
Okay, that is so true, because here we're talking about the positives, the pros, and not so necessarily the drawbacks. So what I would suggest is next week, because I'm not going to rush anything. So Abulela, I think thank you so much for all of you who start making the example of your wife's working from home as well. So what I'm going to do is next week, I'm just going to take a few slides from chapter 5, which we're not going to finish now, especially the work from home. I want to do the home one more in depth, and the pop-up and the mobile offices. So it will take us about 15 minutes in the next class. That we can deep dive a little into that, because what Abulela said is, yes, I'm talking about the positive side of that, but there is another side of that as well, and for many people working from home, like Abulela mentioned, is the networking. It can become very lonely. If you lose the human touch, what do you do then? What things can you put in place? So let's say you've lost the network, but what can you put in to create a new type of network? So can we, the next session, we're going to finish the home-based one, the pop-up, the part-time entrepreneur for 20 minutes, and start with this example of Abulela, and also then see who else of your, whether your yourself or your wives or your spouse do that from home. What is the drawback and how have you overcome that? Can we do that?
Yes.
Is that a yes? Okay. And those of you who haven't done your interviews, if you have a spouse that does from a business from home, remember that's entrepreneurship. You can interview that spouse. If you have a friend who has done a business or as entrepreneurs, you can. Your interview must be for learning, the one thing. And the second thing is if it can improve your own life, then it's a double, I call it a double whammy. He explained his wife is an English teacher, or let's say Abulela's wife. If you haven't done it, you can use your spouse or a friend as well, whatever is going to add the most impact to your life and your learning. Okay. Any questions or comments from your side before we close out? Nothing. Okay. So let's try to no. Let's say go and see those who are behind. If you need to send a little a schedule to me tomorrow, do that. Mpilo and I'm anyway going to sit tomorrow and see who of you who have missed assignments. Then we're going to send individual messages to you to say, is there a problem? How can we support you? Because we want you not to get 0 for assignments. Okay, we are giving you an extra week, those who are behind, to catch up till next week. Those of you who are not behind can start with this assignment, and you have then 2 weeks to submit this assignment on the business model canvas. But please do not get behind after that, because as we build up to the pitch deck, if you're not going to have the first 2 building blocks, you're going to struggle to do that. And then we build up to the finance part. So please catch up. Use the next 2 weeks to catch up. If you need support, whether I need to ask Mpilo to, just for those of you who haven't watched all the videos, to say, okay, let's take half an hour, Mpilo will give you, because he sits in all my sessions. He knows a lot. I mentor him so that he can help those catch up who's behind. Those of you who have specific knowledge questions, but how do I do this? How do I do that? Please send me a WhatsApp so that we can help you to succeed. I'm not going to do the work for you. It's still your responsibility to do the learning, but we want you to finish over the 70s. Okay. Any questions? Comments? Thank you so much for your commitment and time to be here. May God bless you for this week. And remember, breathe and discipline. It's discipline in a course like an MBA. That means stick to workout schedules for you. Put your alarms on. Yes, you may be tired, but discipline is very, very important. Okay. Have a blessed week to everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Professor. Bye.
Okay.
Thank you,
Professor.
Okay, thank you. I will stay on for about 10 minutes if anyone want to have a chat to me afterwards. Okay. Bye-bye.
Good day, Professor. Thank you.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Leia. Ollie. There she goes. Okay. Bye-bye, Naran. Is anyone who wants to speak to me? Okay. Are you all leaving, or is there someone who wants to speak to me?
Bye-bye, Professor.
Okay, Abulela, are you okay?
Yes, yes, I can cope
Okay.
this week because we have a long vacation.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye. Bye.